Hey everyone, it's Luke here from LT Gaming and welcome back to you LT Gamers. We have another wargame on the channel and it's an SGS title. In fact, it's SGS Fall Weiss. Hopefully I've said that properly. As you all know, my pronunciation can be a little bit dodgy sometimes. One of the great things about starting this YouTube channel is I've discovered a number of game series that I absolutely adore, and SGS is one of those. I've played so much SGS Higher Safari and Taipings. They are just awesome experiences and you should definitely check them out. Recently I've covered NATO's Nightmare and the upcoming We the People, which I'm very excited about. An SGS game set in the American Revolutionary War? Yes please. This particular game covers the invasion of Poland by the German forces on the 1st of September 1939, and I only received a copy this week, but I've already sunk 10 hours into it. Honestly, playing as the Polish is like the Dark Souls of the SGS wargames. It's extremely hard and very challenging. Often with other SGS titles, I could be a little bit lazy about my strategy and just try and push a general direction overall, but in this one you really have to use the terrain to your advantage if you're going to turn back the German blitzkrieg. For me, the game occupies a really nice middle ground between the complexity of NATO's Nightmare and the other more simpler approaches taken in Higher Safari, Montezuma and Taipings. Now those games can also be complex, but NATO's Nightmare took it to the next level with the amount of units on screen. I often found that extremely overwhelming and the turns took a very long time, so to see a more condensed scenario which occupies that middle ground was very welcome. Now World War II is a very popular area of history, but I have suffered fatigue with it in recent years, so I wasn't that excited to jump into the particular context. However, I learned a huge amount about the history of this invasion. I found myself on Wikipedia checking things out because I was a little bit naive to how this actually played out. I think the collapse of Poland under the Blitzkrieg is almost a footnote in history and it doesn't do the staunch Polish defence justice. They were totally outnumbered and had very outdated equipment. The feeling of the inevitable German Blitzkrieg and the staunch, brave Polish defence is really brought out by the music in this game. They've picked some wonderful tracks from the era and it has some haunting piano music which I absolutely loved. At this time, there is a 19-turn main campaign. Now that might seem short for people who play turn-based games, but every turn you really take a long time, planning your moves, putting your forces into the right position, and also making sure your reinforcements reach the right place. Like other SGS games, this is broken into multiple phases, so don't take the 19-turn campaign as a short one, because it's certainly not. They recently added another scenario, which is the counter-attack made by the Polish forces. It's a fun scenario over 5 turns that helps teach you the mechanics of the game. Okay, it's that time. If you've made it this far into the video, we would appreciate if you would like, comment and subscribe if you're new here. Small niche channels like us really need your support. So drop down below. Me and Tom really appreciate it. One thing that the developer was keen to get across when I spoke to them was the fact that the game will receive a lot of post-release support and they will add new scenarios to it. I do think it needs a couple more scenarios to flesh it out. The unit counters and the cards in the game once again are beautifully illustrated and I really enjoy checking out all of the different units in the game. This is a particular highlight across the SGS series and they've done themselves proud again. As I touched on in the intro, playing as the Germans is a lot of fun but a little bit easy. However, the real challenge here is trying to defend as the Polish. Eventually, the Soviets are going to also attack. It's an extremely difficult position to be in, and it's a great one if you want a challenge in your wargame. One mechanic that is really great in this one is in the beginning you can pick a very historical scenario, or you can also play a card that makes it more non-historical and you get extra reinforcements. This helps the Polish cause and allows you to make decisions that the Polish could have taken at the time. For instance, you can choose to play a counter-insurgency card, but it will affect your relationships with the West and how soon the intervention clock will tick upwards. I liked playing this card because it stopped a lot of the enemy getting behind my lines and breaking up my supply. If you're new to the SGS game, supply plays a major role and is well modelled in this one, though sometimes, still with the SGS engine, I fail to see why some of my units are out of supply and others are in supply. It could be made more clear. Once again, with this title, they do tutorial videos which link to the YouTube channel. I mean, it does kind of work, but I would like to see an updated system. Now, I really like the guys over at Avalon Digital, and I've met them on Skype calls and discussed their games. I've also provided feedback for bugs that are within the game. But as a review channel, I will always be critical, and I have to say the engine still has some bugs in it which they could have ironed out from previous games. Occasionally the game will hang after a siege, and you have to quit and restart. It's not a major problem, but it should have been fixed by now. This particular title did have a number of bugs, and I'm kind of feeling the game needed a little bit more time in the oven to iron these out. I have also been told that a patch is coming before release of the game, so hopefully this will improve things. Back to the good stuff. So the game comes with a very strong campaign and a number of scenarios with more to come. You also have the really great throwback play-by-email system. Tom has recently picked up Higher Safari, and we both plan to give that a go. Now, me and Tom are both super competitive with each other, so what we might do is we might do Fall Weiss, and one of us basically tries to defend as the Polish. If we lose, it's really no big deal. The AI in these games has definitely got better, but if you want a real challenge, I think the play-by-email system will definitely provide that with a human brain at the end of the moves and the decisions that are made. Right, it's time to sum this one up, and I have to say, I think it's a really great scenario about a period of history that isn't really well covered in a lot of games. It's quite niche, but it's also very enjoyable to play a Dark Souls, very tough war game where you have to try and stop, basically, almost an inevitable blitzkrieg. There are some improvements that should have been made to the engine by now, but overall the game is still beautiful, with great music, wonderful cards and illustrations, and some really great gameplay. Don't let the card system put you off. I've seen a lot of people saying that it does, but generally it just abstracts concepts, gives you the ability to make choices, and improves your battlefield performance. Overall, another strong entry into the SGS series. They do need to make some small improvements, but I'm very excited to keep playing this one and possibly set up a play-by-email game with Tom. So there we go, LT Gamers, another great war game on the channel. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. As always, I'll catch you on the next one.